Is this too much? I tried to get on theme, but I feel like I did a little too much. I filmed this video 3 times already, and every time I find new jewelry every time I find new jewelry to, you know, work on the mermaid theme, ocean theme, and then I'm like, let me just refilm it with the new outfit. This one hurts. Why did I put it so high? Anyway, hi. Today I have a very exciting video because today is the official YouTube announcement of our Mermay Readathon, which is the very first readathon I have ever officially hosted, and I'm very excited and I'm very scared. But you know what? We're vibing. So I already made an announcement over on my Instagram, which is where I post the most, but I felt like maybe I should also make a video just to kind of already explain more things in detail and just, you know, because I guess I didn't put enough information on those posts. But yes, already, if you have any questions, if something isn't extremely clear about what I'm talking about, the link to the Discord server will be linked down below, where you can ask any questions. It's completely free, by the way. I mean, unless you want to buy books for the readathon, then for the rest it's free. But yes, let's get into it. These earrings are gonna make me want to shake my head all the time. If you can see my computer over there, I'm trying to put it next to me, but Miss Fiona is over here. She's kind of, you know, taking up a bit of space. So first off, what is Mermay? Mermay is originally a drawing challenge where throughout the month of May, you have each day a different drawing prompt where then based on that prompt you draw a mermaid. And I don't know who originally made this challenge, know when it started, but it's more often on Instagram or like on other platforms where you post a lot of, where people post their drawings. I think I've also seen a lot of people post spray paints or like the drawing process of their mermaids doing Mermay on YouTube. So it is a whole challenge. It happens every year. I joined once, I think in like 2019, and ever since I just stopped because I couldn't draw every day. It's not like you don't have to draw every day because like there's no prize. It's literally just, you know, to draw as much as possible for like the whole month of May. It's kind of similar to Inktober, where, you know, for the whole month of October you have a different drawing prompt that usually surrounds a bit more spooky stuff, and usually it would be drawn with ink instead of, you know, digitally or like with pencils. But you know, there's not really a rule, like you can still draw digital art during Inktober. It doesn't really matter, it's just like with the prompts you can do whatever you want. Anyway, and basically I love that drawing challenge, and for years, ever since I really started getting into reading, I kind of do like Mermay not just for drawing but also for reading. So for the past 2 or 3 years, every May I would be reading like books that are more surrounding water and mainly mermaids. I've been rereading the book series that got me into reading, 1 book a year, which last year I skipped because I was in a reading slump. So this year I'm gonna try and either read one of them or the 2 last ones in the series. And I thought it would be a fun idea to also make it a readathon because, listen, I have an unhealthy obsession with mermaids and like the whole mythology behind it. And I also feel like it's very rare that you see something related to mermaids, especially in books. Like, I think very often when it comes to like supernatural, like either romances or just supernatural books, paranormal books, very often people skip mermaids and go straight for like vampires, werewolves, fairies, whatever. Mainly because I think that those happen most of the time on land, so it's like not that foreign to the author. But changing everything, like the setting, to ocean based is very difficult, I think. At least that's why so many people don't really like write books with like mermaid main characters. Like it can happen that like there's a subplot where there are mermaids, or like there's mermaid in like the mythology in the background, whatever. But it's never like the main thing, rarely. And so I just thought it would be fun to try and find as many as possible and make a readathon out of it. Now obviously, because I am aware that, you know, mermaids aren't everybody's thing, nor do like are there that many mermaid books out there that like are appealing to majority of people. That is why for the prompts for the readathon, which I'm gonna get into in a second, we're gonna be very flexible, okay? There aren't that many rules about what you can and cannot read. In fact, there aren't any. It's really just like the readathon is called Mermay, so usually it would be more like, you know, encourage to read books that either have mermaids or is surrounded by like ocean, beaches, all of that, ships, pirates, anything like surrounding the ocean. Just, you know, at the same time to keep the mermaid, you know, vibe, and also kind of getting ready for summer. Even though while I'm filming this, you know, it's not very summery, but you know, it's still gonna be fun. Also, if you don't know what a readathon is, it's basically where throughout a certain amount of time you read as many books as possible. Usually there's a theme or there are prompts. Sometimes it's kind of like a competition, sometimes it's just for fun. So yes, this one particularly is kind of a competition. There are 4 different teams where I'm gonna get into in a second, and basically whichever team wins will basically define the next readathon that we might host over on our Discord server. So I hope that's it. I hope I'm explaining things correctly. Like I said, if things aren't clear, there's the Discord link down below. There's also a Google Docs document, and also a whole Google Drive with any information you might need for the readathon. There are templates, the prompts are there, the themes are there, the teams are there, everything's there. And if you still have questions, you can just ask them over on the Discord. We have 4 team leaders who can help you out with anything that you need, so feel free to ask. So now obviously the readathon will start from May 1st and end on May 31st. I think I'm gonna try and do it like from May 1st, like at midnight EST, or maybe just like midnight, like the time of wherever you're from, because I'm in Belgium, so midnight my time is like somewhere halfway through the day in like America or some shit. So it really just depends. I think we're gonna do like wherever you're from, and then also it ends at midnight wherever you're from, so that, you know, it's well-rounded and everybody has time. Now throughout the readathon we will have sprints. We're gonna try and host as many sprints as possible so that, you know, people can stay reading as much as possible. All of them will probably be on Discord. However, I'm looking into how to correctly stream on YouTube so that maybe we can do some live reading sprints together. But that, again, like I said, I'm still figuring it out. My computer isn't exactly what she used to be, so it might not happen, it might happen. I'm not making any promises. Now there is a storyline surrounding the teams, but it's nothing important. It's just something that I wrote for fun, for like kind of like a background on the teams. I keep touching her butt and she doesn't like that. I'm sorry, baby, I'm sorry. So yes, there is a storyline. It's not important to the readathon in general, it's just for fun. So you can read it, you don't have to read it. It's just there if you want to, for fun. And it might give some context as to why the teams are where they are. If you hear strange noises, Fiona be washing herself. I think she's going out. So yes, like I said, there is a storyline. It's not important to the readathon. It's really just there because I thought it was fun to have like a little storyline, like a little backstory to like why there are 4 teams, specifically what is happening, why is this a competition, that sort of thing. But it's not important. Now when you're in the Google Drive, you'll have like I mentioned, the prompts, the like templates for like TBR and finished books. You'll also have a bingo card, which I'm also going to get into a second, and also some drawing prompts, which I'm also going to get into in a second. Now you'll also find a team application, which is literally just for me to see how many people are in each team, and you know, kind of keep track of who's where. But so it is kind of important if you join to sign that one up, and I'll also like maybe do like a roll call at the during the very first sprint where I'll just basically just call out a single name, and then you can just reply to it, or like I'll you know, just in the voice chat call your name. If you haven't like heard your name, you can just, you know, get to the application form team application, which is also in the Google Drive. I'm gonna get tongue-tied saying Google so much, but yes, if you decide to join, it'll be very helpful for me specifically if you know, fill out the team application form. Then you also have the points archive, because each book that you read, based on the prompts, does count for points, which is basically how it's basically going to be decided which team wins based on the amount of points that they have. It doesn't necessarily need to be how many books you read. It's mainly how many prompts you can fulfill, and therefore how many points you can collect. Does that make sense? If you hear noises, the street is right there. It's also a very busy street, so there's often cops and ambulances and firefighters just driving by with their sirens on. So if you hear any loud noises, that's that. Then, like I mentioned before, you'll find the Mermay storyline, and then afterwards you have also the Mermay archive form, which is basically anytime you finish a book, it's one that you fill out with like the book title, how many pages they have, which prompts you fulfilled. Now if you read a book that doesn't really have any of the prompts that applies to it, it doesn't count. But I did make sure that there's at least one prompt anywhere, like whether it's on the cover or the story or anything, like bend, snap, break that bitch as much as you want. And there are enough prompts that are like very like widespread. They're not specific all the time, so you know there's going to be at least one prompt they'll be able to click on to count for points basically. Then you'll have obviously the TBR post, which is basically if you don't want to just post your TBR on your Instagram story, you also want to post it on your Instagram feed. It does have like the mermaid's theme on there, so it's also there in the Google Drive if you need it. Then also there's a wrap-up post, so that's for at the end of the month, where you know you can just kind of like have again the template and then add the book covers of the books that you have completely finished, and at the end of the month kind of show everything that you've read. And then finally we have the Mermay Readathon rules, details, and everything. So like I mentioned, May 1st is when we start, May 31st is when the readathon ends. On May 1st at 11 a.m. EST, we'll have kickoff sprints over on Discord. So that will be either hosted by me or someone else, another one of the team leaders. But we'll have kickoff sprints at 11 a.m. EST on May 1st. I hope that makes sense. So you can join, and that's when we'll kick off. Like we can also talk about some, whatever about the readathon. If you still have questions, you can still ask those. And like I said before, during the kickoff sprints, I will be calling out every single name that is on the application form. So if you don't fill it out, you won't be like hearing your name. If you don't hear your name, the archive form, not the archive form, the sign-up sheet is in the Google Drive. Then on May 19th at 10 a.m. EST, we'll have a mid-month check-in, which is basically just a little check-in. Maybe we'll do sprints at the same time, we'll see, where we just all collectively talk together about how far into the readathon we're at, how many books we've read, like how it's going. And then from May 24th all the way to May 26th at 11 a.m. EST, we'll have a 48-hour readathon, which is basically a weekend readathon, the last weekend of the month of May. Now in the Google Docs document, I also have linked the Mermay book recommendations, which is basically just a story graph, shelf category, whatever you want to call it, which every book that I found that would fit the readathon very well, so that if you're unsure of what to read, like you can just look through that and kind of get an idea of what kind of books you can read. Now to finally get into the teams, like I said, there are 4 teams. Each team has its own theme, so also its own prompts. Again, like I said before, based on the theme, that's where you can kind of pick which team you want to be on. Now the first team is Team Coral, and the team leader for Team Coral is Steph. I've talked about Steph a lot on my channel before. She's one of my online best friends, and she will be leading Team Coral, which Team Coral's theme is basically the cover has to have like warm colors, like reds, yellows, and oranges, like very warm and like cozy colors. And then for the team theme, it's like sea plants, like corals, algae, kelp, anything like that. Now obviously for the team recommendations story graph link, it's not like divided in teams, but like you can kind of like already from the examples that I'll put on the screen somewhere over here, you'll get the general idea of what you can read for Team Coral. Now when it comes to the team prompts, I'll get into those in a second. And so generally Team Coral is very warm, very friendly, very cozy, very romantic. So you know, it's kind of like getting those like very cozy warm vibes basically. Then we have Team Dark Waters, which the team leader for Dark Waters is yours truly. It is I specifically made Team Dark Waters for, you know, the books that I really wanted to read for the readathon. Like I mentioned before, I've been rereading for the past couple of years the series that got me into reading, which is a mermaid series. So specifically now I'm at the 3rd book, so I specifically made Team Dark Waters so that that book would fit that team. And also just generally the whole theme of it is like very cool. Like the cover colors are like very dark blues, greens, teals, all of that, like very cool colors. And then also the team theme is stormy waters, so like high waves, shipwrecks, you know, very chaotic, you know, very chaotic. And now for Team Dark Waters, it's very mysterious, it's, you know, very stormy, spooky, ghostly, like kind of like being scared of what hides in the deep. If you like horror mysteries, Team Dark Waters is for you. Then we have Team Sea Witches, which the team leader for the Sea Witches is Leah. I haven't mentioned Leah before on my YouTube channel, but she's also one of my online friends. She's my wife. Leah is the team leader of the Sea Witches, which was very funny because I actually had Leah in mind when I created the Sea Witches, which the Sea Witches, the team colors are like moody colors, so like very dark purples, dark pinks, like, you know, moody colors, you know what I mean? And then for the team theme on the cover is monsters, so sirens, krakens, whatever. Even if within the book there is a monster that we don't know yet, but it's still on the cover, like it still counts. The whole theme of Team Sea Witches is dark romance, it's monster romance. And I know that Leah loves her dark romances and her monster romances, so Team Sea Witches was literally just made for her. So yes, if you like monster romance, if you like dark romance, like smut books, like Leah is your team leader, okay? And then finally we have the pirates, which the team leader of the pirates is Kenzie. Again, I've talked about Kenzie on my channel before. She's also one of my online best friends. She immediately raised her hand for Team Pirates because I already had Team Dark Waters as my preferred choice to be team leader of. Then Steph loved Team Coral because she thought like it was just her vibe. And then Kenzie was like, I want to be the pirates because of ATs. Amazing. So we immediately didn't even had to fight over who was going to be team leaders. Like some of the team, like the teams were literally just made for every single one of us. So yes, so obviously for the pirates, the team colors are like gloomy colors, so like black, gray, white, like, you know, just like very, you know, not even really colors, but like, you know, just very like dark-ish, like, you know, gray colors. And then for the team theme, it's weapons. So any book cover that has a weapon on it, even though it's not necessarily a weapon like a sword, a dagger, or a gun, even if it's just like within the book there's something that is used as a weapon and it is on the cover, it counts. Now when it comes to the pirates, they are the villains, basically. They are the ones that basically are the reason that whatever is going on within the sea is going on. Like I said, there's a storyline there, so if you want to, you know, check that out, it's also linked in the Google Drive. But yes. So Team Pirates is basically for the villains. Whoever falls in love for the villains and likes bloodshed and all of that. So yes, also if you're a K-pop stan, if you love ATs, Kenzie's your team leader. Now onto the prompts. Now first I want to get off by saying that there are title prompts, which is kind of like for everybody. So if the book title either has the word deep, water, mermaid, song, blue, sea, or magic in the title, that is automatically a certain amount of points. I will get into the points in a second. But yes, so the title prompts are for everybody. It's not just like title prompts for a certain team, it's for every single team. They each have the same title prompts. I mainly made the title prompts just again to make it easier for people to kind of like find any kind of book that would fit the readathon, because like I mentioned before, I know that like mermaid books and ocean books aren't always like people's cup of tea or like things that they naturally gravitate to. So I'm also gonna get into a second on like in what way you can kind of bend, snap, and break any kind of book to fit the readathon. Now first, let's get into Team Coral's prompts, which is beach, romance, and friends to lovers. So like I said before, Team Coral is very cozy, very romantic. Then for Team Dark Waters, we have drowning, ghost ship, and mystery. So yeah, like I said, darker stuff, like mysterious, you know. Can you tell that I made this for myself? Because I mean, I know some books that have each and every single one of these prompts, or even all three in one book. So you know, I literally just made this for myself. Then for Team Sea Witches, we have monsters, witches, and curses, obviously. So even if you want to read something that has like magic in it, or like with sea witches, it doesn't necessarily have to be a dark romance or a monster romance. It can literally just be a book about a sea witch or who has a sea witch. It can still count for the sea witches. It's just like very much like I had Leah Emanuel's making it. It was like, let me just make a specific team for the dark romance girlies, okay? And then finally for Team Pirates, the prompts are obviously pirates, enemies to lovers, and villains. It's also very straightforward. Like I mentioned before, the prompts for the teams are also not very like hyper specific, so you can, in any which way you want, you can kind of bend, snap, break a book to fit any of these prompts. Now for example, for Team Coral, when it comes to beach, it can be like, for example, Emily Henry's beach reads. It can be a book that just has 1 second, like with just 1 page that takes place on a beach. For example, Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I read that book twice, and I'm aware that there is a like very specific beach scene in there, so that would also count. Then there's also, for example, Kingdom of the Wicked by Kara Maniscalco, because you know the setting of it is near the ocean as well, so that could also count. Then when it comes to the romance prompt, again very straightforward. It can be any kind of romance. It can be a contemporary romance, like again Beach Read by Emily Henry, or it can be a dark romance. Then again very straightforward, friends to lovers. So basically if you have friends to lovers that's on a beach, you have all 3 prompts, because it's on a beach, it's a romance, and it's specifically a friends to lovers. It's meant to be very easy to like kind of like pick and choose them. So like automatically, if you have the friends to lovers trope in your book, you can also pick the romance trope. Then when it comes to my team, for example, like drowning, for example, The Deep by River Solomon. There's also the series that got me into reading, the Waterfire Saga by Jennifer Donnelly. Pretty sure I remember there's also like drowning in that from like the ancestors of those mermaids as well. Anything can be a book where there is a mention of a siren who drowns people. It counts. Then for Ghost Ship, again I had in mind for the Waterfire Saga, because I know that in the first book or the second one there is a ghost ship in there. I'm pretty sure it's the first one. There is a ghost ship underwater which basically is haunted by a ghost, which counts. Or even if it's not underwater, if it's just like, you know, you're on the characters are on a ship and they pass by a ghost ship, it counts. Then obviously mystery, very straightforward. I think if you can basically find any kind of a mystery aspect in a book, it can count. It doesn't have to be outright a trope within the book. It can just literally just be like a small aspect of a character that's kind of like a mystery, like why did this happen, why do they feel this way about it. It's a mystery aspect to it. Boom, you got the prompt done. Bend and snap and break that bitch. Then for the sea witches, monsters, can be a monster romance, can be where basically there is a book where there is a monster that's on the loose. So again, I'm thinking of the Waterfire Saga, where they basically have to find talismans to keep a monster locked and prevent basically world destruction. Then obviously witches, it doesn't have to be sea witches, it can just be witches in general. Again, Kingdom of the Wicked by Karen Maniscalco takes place near a beach, but also like the main character is a witch. And it also has a mystery aspect to it because the main character's twin sister dies and she teams up with the demon to solve the case. At the very least, that's the like, you know, the description of the first book. But yes, so basically already Kingdom of the Wicked fits 3 teams already. Then with curses, anything, again, any character that is cursed, for example Beauty and the Beast, and the Beauty of the Beast retelling that has a curse fits. You can basically pick any fairy tale book for that matter for that prompt. Then when it comes to the pirates, very straightforward as well. It can be literal pirates or a group of characters where you can basically just argue and gaslight me into saying they kind of act like pirates though. In this way, whatever I'm explaining it, they're kind of like pirates. I would be like, valid. Bend and snap and break that bitch. I don't care. Then obviously enemies to lovers, also very straightforward. And this includes enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers, academic rivals to lovers, hate to love, miscommunication to lovers, even though if you pick that, what the fuck. Any kind of dislike or hatred to lovers counts for this prompt. Like, you know, a lot of people confuse enemies to lovers with, for example, like academic rivals to lovers, like they think it's the same thing, but even though it's not. For this, it's just like an umbrella term for like any kind of like hate to love, basically. Then villains, any book where the main character is a villain, or like, you know, just the book in general surrounds specifically a villain, like for example Vicious by V. Schwab, basically. Or even if it's just like a retelling, like one of those Disney retelling books that follows the villains of the fairy tales, counts as well. Now, to get into the mermaid drawing prompts, because like I said before, I did add those as well. Now, when it comes to these, they're not like mandatory. However, on the bingo card, it does have a square where, you know, to get one, like to be able to check out one of the squares, it does have to be one of the mermaid drawing prompts. But again, it's not like something that if you don't do it, you can join the readathon. Like, that's not at all the case. It's just something that I wanted to add to keep kind of like the creative spirit of the original mermaid challenge within the readathon. So obviously, like the prompts are also very straightforward. You can also interpret the prompts however you want. Like for example, amulet, you can literally just draw a mermaid with an amulet like around her neck, or like a mermaid stuck within an amulet. A ghost, jellyfish, coral, sea witch, pirate, storm, ice, Barbie, clock, dragon, princess, demon, angel, steampunk, poison, space, zombie, siren, kiss, fruit, bubbles, upside down, skeleton, bells, and song. Those are all of the drawing prompts. And literally, like I said, you can literally just like interpret the prompt however you want. There's no limit to creativity. For example, kiss, you can draw 2 mermaids kissing. You can draw a mermaid that looks like one of the band members from Kiss. The possibilities are endless. Or for example, fruit, you can draw a mermaid that has like, you know, a fruit-based outfit, or like just, you know, a fruit mermaid, like a strawberry mermaid, or a fruity mermaid, you know, like you know, like a gay mermaid because fruity. Bend and snap and break that bitch. And now that that's out of the way, let's get into the points for the readathon. Now first, when it comes to the team colors, So any like of your team's colors is on the cover, like for example for Team Coral, the very warm colors, which orange and yellows, etc, etc, etc. It's 5 points. Then for the team theme is also 5 colors. Then for the team prompts, each prompt counts for 15 points. For the team prompts, you can select more than one. So basically, for example, for Team Coral, you have the beach, romance, and it's also friends to lovers. That automatically like counts up together basically. Then for the title prompts, it is 5 points. And then obviously there's also an option for none if like, you know, you don't have any of the title prompts within the title of the book that you just read. And then for the mermaid drawing prompts, for each mermaid that you draw, it is plus 10 points. Then for the bingo card, which is also linked in the Google Drive, for a traditional bingo, it's 5 points, and if you get a full card, it is 120 points. If you want to repeat, like you don't have to have one book that fits one of these prompts, like you can literally just have endless books fit the prompts. You can also like redo the full card an endless amount of times. Like if you have a full card once, you can just scrap it all off and restart it from the get-go, which I would be very impressed if people do that, because there is one bingo square that says read a book over 500 pages, which if you can read more than one book over 500 pages within the readathon, hats off to you. Now, to get more specific about the reading sprints, they will be like the voice chat will always be like everyone together. There's not a separate voice chat for the different teams. There's also just the general chat for reading sprints where you can talk to everybody that's in the Discord server. But there's also a separate sprints chat for each team. So for example, if you want to discuss something during sprint for your team specifically, that's where you can go off to. Then we'll also try and host at least once a week a little game night, which will also be over on Discord, and the game will mainly be Among Us, because there is a map that recently came out a couple of months ago that is basically where the spaceship is stranded on an abandoned island. So it fits also the readathon, and also it fits also just kind of like my team with the mystery, and just in general I think it would be kind of fun because it's also something that we can all play together and kind of just have fun together. So yes, we'll also have some game nights. They can join, or you can also just like stay in the chats and, you know, watch what's going on. Well, there'll also be the voice chat, so like if you want to talk during the game night, and like for example you want to defend yourself, you can just turn on your microphone and just like talk, because I know that sometimes tapping it out can like take a while. So that's why we'll do it over on Discord too. There's the voice chat if you want to defend yourself. Now I also just talked about a bit more about the mermaid drawing prompts. Again, I mainly just added that one to keep like the creative spirit alive, and also along with the creative spirit, there's also on the bingo card, there's a bingo square which is basically doing a mermaid makeup. So basically just any kind of like, you know, you can look up tutorials, you can look up reference images, and you can just do a full face, or like just kind of like, you know, even if you just draw a stick figure mermaid on your cheek, bend and snap and break that bitch, I don't care, you can do whatever you want. And again, if you have more questions, you can always ask them in the Discord server. Me along with the other team leaders will be right there to help you. And the main rule of all is just to have fun. And also, if you're wondering like what kind of stuff you can read, it's not just books, it can be manga, it can be a graphic novel, it can be audiobooks, and it can even be fan fiction or webtoons. Everything counts. I have one of my favorite webtoons which I haven't finished, which is, what was it? I think it was called Siren's Lament. It's on webtoons. It's so cute, it's really fun, and I haven't finished it, but I highly recommend it for the readathon. So yes, that was all, I think, as kind of like an explanation for the readathon. Again, if you have more questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the Discord server, or even in the comments of the video if you don't want to bother going straight to the Discord server. It's completely fine. You'll have a link to everything, to the Discord server, to the Google Drive, to everything that I mentioned in the video, so that you can get access to everything, kind of look at it for yourself before deciding if you want to join or not. I think they're cleaning the streets. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys join the readathon, because it's something that I'm very excited about, and I'm very excited to make more readathons. And like I said before, the team that wins this readathon basically will decide the theme of the next readathon. It might not be, for example, if the pirates win, it might not be necessarily a readathon surrounding pirates, but it might be a similar vibe to it. You know what I mean? So yes, also just depending on the, like, basically the storyline that I made up for the readathon, based on that will also impact the next readathon. So even though I mentioned that the whole backstory slash storyline of the readathon isn't necessarily important, it will play, you know, in the decision as to what the next readathon is going to be. So it's not important necessarily, but if you want to know kind of like what the next readathon could be, it might be a little important. Does that make sense? Yes. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. All the links will be down below, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.